Doomed to Repeat is a Delta Green actual play podcast with violent themes and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to episode 34 of our Delta Green actual play, Doomed to Repeat. I'm Sergio, your handler. If you want to stay up to date with the latest Mayday has to offer, consider joining our newsletter. You can visit our link tree at Mayday Roleplay 7 and find the link to join there. There's also our socials on Blue Sky and Instagram. Just search Mayday Roleplay. Wherever you catch us, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment, as it really helps us grow, and we love hearing from you. And finally, if you really want to show us some love, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/MaydayRP. We've got some incredible stuff there, including Black Project Gaming's terrifying God's Teeth campaign. This episode, we continue our playthrough of the scenario Escape from Innsmouth by Kevin A. Ross and others, and published by Chaosium. Now, let's get back to it. Last session, you went north and visited the Newbury Historical Society, where you saw a tiara on display that fit no human head. The pious Miss Tilton filled you in that the Marshes have consistently tried to buy the crown back from the museum. She did mention that she believed an organization within Innsmouth was the main kind of problem, and that was the Esoteric Order of Dagon. With little else to do, you decided to take a leisurely reconnaissance mission and drive through Innsmouth in the evening. The fog was heavy, and you found yourselves in the near-destitute coastal town. Kennedy noticed the town poorhouse and was compelled to go in and check in on his friend Zadok, who's missing. There was no luck finding him, but the locals seemed to insist that they wanted no part in whatever happened to him, some even saying things like he got what he deserved. The party did meet a hapless drunk named Balaki, who filled them in a bit more on Zadok's disappearance, kind of heavily inferring he had done something to upset somebody who ran the town. And deciding to have a drink with Balaki, you all decided to get into the car, but not before noticing one of the tires had been punctured. Kennedy changed the flat while Dr. Rook ventured into the fog and was surprised by one of the constables on patrol, a Mr. Ropes. Ropes was perhaps the first person that any of you have seen that had the most striking Innsmouth look. He thoroughly creeped you out and watched you as you eventually repaired the tire and you left. You went further down through the middle of the city, and down these barren cobblestone streets you drove past an old Masonic hall whose sign read Esoteric Order of Dagon. The lights were very much on in there, and there was very much activity in there. You eventually stopped at what appeared to be a downtown area where there was a diner. There was the first national grocer that you know Brian Burnham worked at. You know that there is the Gilman House Hotel. And finally, there is the Garden Cafe, which Freddy Cora went into. There you met Victor Obrecht, who was a client to Freddy's bootlegging business. Victor was rather stunned to see you guys there, just not expecting fresh faces, and was curious as to why you were snooping around. When you asked him about Brian Burnham, he confessed to watching the poor boy be arrested and carted off to the Innsmouth jail, which you do not currently know where that is. Meanwhile, outside, a new constable appeared, a squat, horrid little man named Mr. Birch. And after exchanging a few impolite words, you guys realized it was time to go, but not before our friend Kennedy thought it was a smart idea to disrespectfully flick his cigarette onto the ground, which he got a good caning for. And there was a big, scary, tense moment where we weren't sure what was going to happen, but Kennedy kept himself together and decided to just get out of there, which you did. We pick back up mid-drive as you make your way through farmlands on your way to Falcon Point.
Kennedy, do me a favor. Tell us, talk about your she shanties and all of that.
Are you worried I have a concussion or something?
I'm pretty sure you have a concussion.
I'm good. It hurts like hell, and there's definitely a lot of blood, but I'm mostly just plotting how I'm gonna gut that fucking fish.
Where did you go to medical school?
Where did I go to medical school?
Exactly.
Well, if we're talking about injuries, I've got a leg that's been blown off. I'd like to tell you I know how it goes.
Well, his personality's still intact, so...
You can't be feeling that bad.
You all silently drive out of the area and eventually follow the map that you have found to what you believe is Falcon Point. A tiny fishing village with maybe a dozen plus homes, a small market, and an even tinier dock with a few boats tied up. You can see curving around to the north, eventually the shoreline, which turns into kind of a craggy shore heading in the direction of Innsmouth, the inevitable marine layer blocking your view from it. Has everyone made a sanity check today?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you all to make sanity checks to see if you get any sleep tonight.
I got a 91.
Over by 3, 63 over 60.
I had a critical failure.
I got a 78. I also don't get any sleep.
I got a 10. I'm asleep like a dream.
You're having a good night.
All of you roll a d6. You will lose that much willpower for not getting enough rest, those of you that have failed. Most of you are kept up thinking about what you saw, what you experienced, the strange feeling of dread that seemed to creep over you as you're in that town. Dr. Rook, maybe you slept because your nerves are so shot your body just couldn't handle it anymore and you kind of just passed out. Cora, as you're falling asleep, you see it. You see it in your mind's eye. You're back in Innsmouth, and you snap out of it suddenly, dreading to have the same dream again. Now, even though you're barely able to get sleep, it seems to haunt you even in your waking hours. You can see the dream even just when you close your eyes.
I actually do have a question about the night where we left off. Because I know Kennedy just got his head bashed in. I'm sorry, what was the wrap up of that? Is he taken care of, or is he just bleeding?
We did not resolve that, and if you'd like to resolve it, if somebody has skill in first aid, we can retroactively say that somebody attempted to help him.
Not that kind of doctor.
I think that was the thing that we ended on, was none of us took first aid and we were mad about it.
I have 10%. Does any...
We all do.
Okay.
If all of you work together, I'll give you 20%, so somebody can have 30%.
I'll do it. I'll take the risk.
All right, let's go, doctor.
It's a 29.
Hot damn.
It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night, friends.
I suggest being bold, guys, because you have been rolling really well.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to survive this one.
Don't say it, now we're gonna fuck up!
Either Dr. Rook or Kennedy, you can roll a d4 and add that to your health.
What do you think, Eli? You want to roll it or should I?
You do it. You do it.
Hey, give me a hot 3.
Hey.
Yeah, that puts me back at 12. 12 out of 15.
Explain to me what it looks like as basically all four of you are working before bed to patch up Kennedy.
I think it probably took that many to get Kennedy to sit still and actually allow them to look at whatever is happening on the back of his head.
Hold him down. If we have alcohol, that's probably what I'm using.
He's drinking the whole time.
There's a moment where Freddy just grabs the back of your head with a towel with booze on it and just presses it to the back and also sits you down and then puts the bottle in your lap.
I think that wins his respect. Like, he then is like, okay, I'm dealing with something here. It's like a dog that doesn't want to take a bath.
Oh, Cora, as Freddy scoops the back of his head, I think Cora's just kind of absently gonna put her hand on his forehead and just kind of help hold that part of him still.
I think I'm just gonna give him some stitches. I'm just gonna be like, this is gonna sting a little.
Maybe you dated somebody in college that was practicing stitching, because I know that often doctors will practice on oranges and bananas and stuff like that. So maybe you watched somebody and they showed you the proper way, because sure enough, I mean, with a 29 out of 30, that's near full success. I mean, you do a very good job with the stitch. You surprise yourself.
I have a friend, Marco, who taught me how to do this. It's actually quite easy. And I have steady hand.
Well, there you go. Thanks to Marco.
It is Wednesday, November 9th, and I will say that because you all had such a bad time sleeping, that you could get up as early as 6 a.m. and start putting yourselves together. You ended up having to just find the biggest house and ask if they had a room that you could stay in. So you're all basically together in a large communal space right now. After such a concerning night, what is the morning ritual and how is it different?
Cora, at some point, had left the spot where they'd been told they could lay down with a blanket kind of wrapped around their shoulders and wandered this strange house, like taking stock of every window where they could see the ocean and making just kind of a lap of those. And then when they got tired but still couldn't sleep, crawled into like the biggest windowsill and just kind of propped their chin up and watched the ocean as the night wore on, and nodded off against the panes of glass every now and then. So that's probably where they are in the morning.
Arthur would have had a little bit rougher time to sleep, where he's going to make sure, like, he has eyes on, especially Kennedy, make sure he's breathing okay and all that, but also on the door where his suitcase, the big heavy one, is ready and it's actually already unlocked. Because he saw fish people, he's kind of going through a little bit of a existential crisis, and actually has to, if he can, he'll get up also early. The owner of the house, I know I will go ahead and actually tip a little bit more as an inconvenience and thank you, try to appease that, but also to use the washroom, because Arthur's going to go ahead and make sure he washes, and he's going to shave off his mustache, because he remembered the toad man that he's thinking recognized his face. So he's going to shave it to make it a little bit harder for him to get spotted.
Very clever, Mr. Clark. When you get up a little bit earlier than everyone else, the homeowner is up. It's this kind of older gentleman, looks to be a local fisherman, weathered, tanned, leather skin, and he hands you a coffee that he's brewing. And as each of you get up, you are eventually brought some coffee that is not sugared or creamed or anything, just kind of straight black hot coffee, but it does help get you up.
Thank you very much. He's gonna drink it as best he can with the, but he's gonna do it with a smile, pain smile on his face.
I think Freddy's the one that's waking Kennedy up every few hours, either by just like a kick or like, hey, make sure that you're alive, and then goes back to reading. I think they're too hopped up to sleep. The like encounter last night kind of, they were ready for it to be a little bit more action-packed than that. So they're just smoking and reading. Occasionally they'll like look out of a window, and once it's just dead quiet, then they try to find some sense of stillness.
I think Kennedy does try to sleep this off, if anything, just to prove to everyone in the room that he's okay. You know, if he wills it long enough, he doesn't have a concussion. But he finds that every time he tries to sleep, he's visited by these dreams of being on the lines, the front lines in France. And he starts to get this feeling that being hit like that is bringing some of those memories to the forefront. And then he gets overly antsy and instead plans just to sit up, and eventually Freddy finds that they're kicking a fully awake man every few hours, and he just sort of stares back like, hey, what the fuck you doing? Until the morning when he's going to take advantage of the air, of the overcast of everything, and dig into his pack and bring out a fishing pole set and arrange it itself, say good morning to the family that runs the home, that he's probably interacted with before, and then walk down to the shores of Falcon Point, the closest he can get, to casting off into the sea there, and just trying to focus on that rote passing muscle memory of fishing from those shores, and trying to dissuage these thoughts of that woman being taken by these things, by the man they interviewed in that insane asylum, by the people who have been touched by this, by Zadok sitting silently next to him, just sort of cycling through all of the things this terrible place has done, and eventually coming back to join the rest, having caught some fish.
On that trek, you notice a couple of things. One, it's a pretty windy day. You can see that off in the ocean there is a storm that seems to be brewing. Will probably make landfall in the next couple hours, maybe in the late afternoon. You realize why this place is called Falcon Point. The sky is littered with a great number of peregrines, gerfalcons, and merlins, which wheel through the air above the rocks and the cliffs. And you have your coffees, you say your good mornings. Those of you that spend any time speaking with the owner of the home, they are just kind of a humble fisherman who lives here with their family. Many of the children have moved on, and so the home is kind of just left vacant, and that's why they had the space. But eventually the homeowner does kind of ask, you folks just passing through? You came in pretty late last night. You're lucky you caught me awake.
Sorry, it was like I said, an emergency and family emergencies and whatnot. If possible, are you okay if we put a little bit for like a down payment for another night, just in case?
If you just want to give me money, yeah, sure. I'll promise you a room.
Excellent. Arthur's going to go ahead and pull out a little of the funds, especially from what was given to us and for the budget, to leave a comfortable, not over extravagant, but to be like maybe an extra $10 or something that could be like, thank you, so we can get better favor.
He appreciates it. He takes it a certain way. I'm not sure if you immediately understand the way he takes it, but he stops inquiring, smiles, and simply serves you coffee if you keep asking for it.
I'm going to motion to anyone that's nearby. See me be like, does anyone fancy a quick walk?
I could use some air, yes.
Sure. Yeah, I could get some air.
Yeah, Freddy's already heading towards the door, feeling that this is more than a walk.
Anyone else?
Sure, I could take a walk.
You step out into the windy day, and like I mentioned, about a dozen small houses all along this craggy coast, no commercial outlets, a couple of vehicles, and you do notice that there are some men milling about in a front porch, kind of talking to each other, but otherwise it's a quiet little town, quiet little village.
Cora, do you mind getting your camera out?
Sure.
We act like we're all on an adventure, taking photos.
Well, I was wanting to take a picture of everyone together, so this is a good opportunity for it. Kennedy, you stand in the middle.
Sure.
Mr. Clark next to him.
Oh!
Doctor next to him.
Yes, well.
Freddy, you can go wherever you want, I guess.
That's fine.
Why don't you two stand together?
I have to take the picture.
Well, you could set it on a timer. Don't you have some of those things?
It's up to you.
We could ask the gentleman over there. You, good sir.
The gentlemen notice you and kind of wave hello. One of them walks up and asks what you're up to.
Hi, my colleagues and I are going up and down the coast, taking a great view, and this is a great opportunity. Do you mind taking a photo of us?
Oh, is that a camera?
Yes.
I've heard of these things. Let me take a look here. And he seems very, very intrigued by it.
I can show you the basics, but
What does this button do? And he goes to eject the film.
No. I'm gonna try and like move it out of the way before he can. Oh no, that's not safe for the.
See, Cora, you got some lovely little volunteers here. They can take the photo. I imagine it's pretty easy, and then we stand here and take our group photo.
All right, yeah, okay. Don't touch this button. That will ruin the picture.
Oh, that'd be bad, yeah.
Yes. So hold it, and I'm going to specifically place his hand one place, and I'm gonna take his other hand and place it the other, and I'm gonna put his finger on the button, and I'm like, okay, do not push this button until we're all where we're supposed to be.
This button, that's the one. And he's pointing at the right one.
This one, yes.
Where's she? And he starts aiming, like, looking through the peephole as you all kind of rush together.
I go up next to Freddy and I'm like, I don't like other people having my camera.
I know. I think he got it. It should be fine. It'll be quick. And then, as an effort to bring everyone closer together, because this is the show that we have now, Freddy will put their hand on the small of your back, unless told not to, and push the group closer together.
This old man is going to make a luck roll to see if he can do it. I'll say that he has plus 20% because you gave him instructions. The camera doesn't move. He literally you just hear the click as he presses on it, and he's like, "Is that it? I think it's done."
That's perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna run, rush over and take it from him. That was perfect. Thank you so much. That was so very kind of you. What's your name?
Oh, yeah, that was nice. Me? You can call me Job.
Well, Job, you might have a profession in this. You ought to go out and buy yourself a camera.
Hell, maybe I will. I mean, there's not much else to do besides fish around here.
Well, now it's fish and take pictures of fish.
If you want to take a good picture, you should head up to Fish Head Rock. It's a little north of here. Big rock, looks like a fish head. It's crazy.
Fish Head Rock.
What kind of fish?
Oh, I don't know, a big grouper or something. It's an ugly devil.
You said north?
Yeah, just north. You just follow the coast a little bit. But before Innsmouth, you don't need to go into Innsmouth. You can just come back once you're done. In fact, where are you guys going? Where are y'all coming from and where are you heading to?
Well, we came from Arkham and we sort of stayed a little late, so this is sort of the nicer place to be. We decided to be here for the night.
You certainly chose the right place to be if you had to stay somewhere around here.
And plus, the coast is it just looks phenomenal right here. If we're gonna stop.
I'm glad you think so. I thought it was a good idea to invest in the property.
How long have you been here?
Since my pappy. So however many years that is, like 80 or something.
Right, you picked the right part of the coast then, I guess, being this far from Innsmouth.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Not far enough if you ask me. And he kind of spits on the ground.
Those folks ever come through here?
Technically, we're part of the township, so they come through once in a while.
Yeah.
Say, I noticed you all guys have some fresh hot coffee there. You wouldn't happen to have enough to share with me and the mates, would you?
Absolutely. Arthur's the first one to come out with coffee.
Boys, fresh coffee! And the other three men that are milling about kind of come over. They ask you to come over to the building. They don't want to be out in the open air. But you pour them some coffee and, they all kind of huddle by it and are sipping it in the cold wind of the day.
Because they're open, Arthur's actually going to talk to get as much information since he actually kind of spoke about the fish people in at least a more open than the diner. I'm going to spit down too, like, damn Innsmouth folk. Busted. I'm going to show my car or whatever that's like little dinged up and be like, busted my car, Innsmouth folk, devils.
The guy who was speaking to you in the middle of the road and then kind of joined you back in the group says, Oh, so you did pass through Innsmouth, huh?
Yeah, just a late night drive. We were looking for a spot to eat. A little late last night.
Yeah, well, someone should have told you not to pass through there.
If we ran to you yesterday, Pappy. Let's just say that, sir.
The party never comes to you on the side of the township?
They all, are all kind of muttering under their breath for a moment before a different one speaks up. This is just kind of a wiry, thin guy, a little taller than the rest. And he says, they pretty much own this area, so the marshes come around here once in a while. They talk to old Jedediah, and he points to a different home, kind of a few homes away.
The Marshes talked to Jedediah.
The family's been through here, yeah.
But Jedediah, they're related?
Jedediah's seen some things, he says. He said once that he swore he caught a mermaid off a Devil's Reef.
I heard those stories.
Well, yeah, you probably did if you were a fisherman around these parts. He said he saw old Enoch Conger, this local fisherman that used to live here. So years later, he retired here in Falcon Point, but one night he just disappeared from his shack. A different gentleman speaks up and says, "Yeah, I heard there was a fresh set of footprints leading away from the house towards the sea. The webbed kind." And he kind of looks at everyone. Yeah, so, like I said, old Jedediah says that he swore he saw Enoch swimming in the bay there with a bunch of strange-looking folk near Devil Reef. But Marches came around, and he didn't say much else since.
We think it'd be worth, we have time to kill. We're just here on a trip. It might be worth seeing what he knows, finding out about these mermaids, she says as she makes spooky hands around the word mermaids.
You can try, but old Jedediah, he's a rotten son of a bitch. Not friendly at all. I doubt you'll get much out of him.
I have a way with older people like that. I might be able to make friends.
If anyone would, it'd be you, sweetheart.
Oh, let's go see Jebediah get the truth.
Jesus. Okay, wait. I need to go see the sea caves. There's a place where sometimes we had liquor.
God, the sea caves sound like an awful place to die.
That sounds really scary.
I mean, no one is going to find our corpses in a sea cave. I'm just saying that.
It's gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary to go there.
Wait, aren't there underground tunnels?
That's what I'm saying. They could lead us under Innsmouth if that's where we needed to go. We could take the sea caves if they're those kind of sea caves.
Yeah. It's just, if the storm is bad enough, we could get locked in one side of the sea cave and forced to come out the other regardless.
What about the rock? Does that actually will give us a good vantage point of the whole area?
It will give you a good vantage point of the beach that it's facing. It won't give you a good vantage point of Innsmouth.
So I like that. So sea caves, and then we follow the tunnels into Innsmouth. Maybe we check out the grocery store when we're in.
We have to look at the church at some point, don't we?
The church, yeah. That has trouble, though, because, I mean, like you were saying to us yesterday, if we get caught in that place, I mean, we better become fish priests pretty fast.
Let's hold on that one until that needs to become an option.
They were talking about the Jedediah kid, right? The old man who's been yelling shit off of this island for a while and then suddenly got quieted by the marshes, right? Same thing happened to Zadok. Same thing happened to the editor. Now, this is going to sound a lot like a concussion plan, so please just stay open to the idea. If we were to make some noise in Innsmouth about something we knew, or something we were questioning, or something we were looking for even, if it was light enough that it showed we knew, but not heavy enough to get us killed, it may just bring the marshes out to talk. And then we could get some face-to-face with the boss man's kids.
So you're suggesting we just go around town saying we know what you did a couple of months ago, and then hope that's...
My thinking is that if we draw out the marshes and they do what they tried with Jedediah, which is this, silencing, this, physical threatening, that could be considered felonious. And then if we could get some documentation there, it could be proven that marshes are in collusion with whoever's causing all of these riots in Innsmouth.
Do we want to explore Devil's Reef at all?
No.
I don't think anybody wants to go out to Devil's Reef. Not unless we have to.
So we hone into the marshes and then maybe go to the coast.
Yeah.
I think it'll be easiest for us to get to the marshes later because we'll have information about the town and then look for other things that we can tie back to them so that if we have to get out of town, we can. With our mission objective achieved.
Yeah, that's my thought too.
Okay, to the beach then.
There are fishermen in town that have what are the equivalent to large rowboats. Some of them have sails.
The sails would help us on open water, but once we get into the sea caves, they may be an obstruction if things get small or heady or we need to move quicker. I think we can get by with just a rowboat without the sails, but I'm open to whatever you all think.
We can all put our backs into it, get a workout in.
Okay, you all clamber into a boat sufficient enough for the five of you, and the fishermen of Falcon Point wish you a safe travels, although many of them look very concerned that you are heading north. Eventually, you do come by what is known as Fishhead Rock. Near the northern end of the beach that leads to Falcon Point, there is this rocky crag that extends out into the surf. It is clearly roughly carved by human hands. It has been carved to resemble a gigantic fish or frog. The head is narrow with gill slits in the neck, possessed of huge eyes and a wide mouth. Dr. Rook, you immediately recall a local legend about the indigenous people of this area would often come here, or there was a superstition revolving around Fishhead Rock. The details, you could try to make an archaeological roll or anthropology roll right now to try to remember the real nitty-gritty of this tale.
I'll take an anthropology roll. 42 out of 50.
It takes you a moment, but then you recall that it's that there was a separate tribe. They claimed that devils came up from the sea.
Yeah, I would mention that, say that, I guess the people of, the original peoples of this area, again, talking more about fishmen, but yes, this was like a ritual place for sacrifice, or what they believed it was. So perhaps it's in the right direction.
You continue rowing, and you find that you are going to enter the foggy bay of Innsmouth.
You can either row directly through and in between Devil's Reef and Innsmouth, or you could try to go around the long side past Devil's Reef, but completely avoiding Innsmouth.
I like the long way.
We can take the long way.
Yeah.
You begin turning the boat and rowing slightly due east, and sure enough, you are kind of skirting the fog that surrounds the bay. Eventually, you see it up ahead, this long, thin, jagged line of black, slimy rock, and all you hear is the sound of water, and you can hear the sound of rushing air going in and out of different coves by this reef. Cora, can you give me a power times 5 roll as you pass this reef?
Cora, as they've been closing in on Innsmouth, they've kind of just been like inching closer to everyone, leaning more towards Arthur when he talks, or like nudging a foot out to like knock it against the side of Kennedy's boot. And they've had several kind of nightmares close enough that it is nerve-wracking. That's a 37 under 75.
As the boat passes, you can't help but look out at the reef. It's so close. I mean, you could easily dock the boats and get off and wander about. There's something both intriguing and foreboding about it, that solid black rock. But God, you get the weirdest feeling like somebody is looking at you from those rocks. Somebody is staring back from those dark caves and spots that are visible. You follow the rock down into the darkness of the blue, and you can see how deep it goes.
Cora takes a steadying breath, brings up the camera, and as we pass it, tries to take as much of as wide of a shot as they can. Just takes a picture.
The only challenge is the motion of the boat, so just give me a regular skill check with your camera skills to see if you can pull off this photo in particular.
That is a 62, which is 2 over my photography.
Your main concern is that the boat is rocking enough that you're concerned whether you got a stable enough photo, but you do successfully take the photo.
I'll reload the camera, put that film away to be developed later, and just kind of hunker down in the boat and try to be touching as many people at one time as possible.
If no one is talking, it is noticeable to all of you that you occasionally hear a come out of one of the caves, a kind of wind sound. At least it should be wind, but it's hard to tell sometimes. It's so close to being vaguely human sounding. But you are able to get past the reef, and you start making your way back to the shore. There is a small kind of inlet where you can see the large craggy sides of land and very visible caves. large curvatures, and there are many of them, probably dozens, along the beach for miles.
I think Freddy is going to try to be spooky. To be clear, mechanically, I have nothing to support that. But I think of the many like cave entrances, you're just going to see Freddy. They stand and probably spin and point, and that is their little magic, which is the very first cave that they see.
It's not quite a science.
What did you just do?
I have an idea.
The intentions. Trust the magic of intentions.
Yes, thank you.
Does the magic of intentions have a map to where the fuck we're supposed to go?
I just asked, and hopefully that's what they just gave me.
Freddy, as soon as you stop turning, you point in the direction of a sea cave, and you all notice it immediately begins to rain. The storm has finally reached you, so all at once, it's this very loud storm. Freddy, roll a d4.
4.
You waste 4 hours looking at these caves. Freddy, you're like, this is the one, and sure enough, you head in just a couple inches before you realize, oh no, this is just a dead end. It's now 4 p.m. You could still find, you suspect, a place that could lead deeper, but you are somewhat demoralized after everyone is now soaked in the rain.
Part of me thinks that these caves don't exist, really, Freddy. I mean, how many times do we have to knock our heads against a wall to realize that, these caves go nowhere?
Look, if Edison quit like that, or Tesla, we wouldn't have electricity or whatnot. So we just know what caves not to go.
Well, Tesla was in building electricity, in the middle of a rainstorm.
That would be stupid.
Maybe.
To be fair, working with the federal system isn't much different from being a sailor. I spent most of my morning drunk and playing cards, and now I'm lost in the caves.
We can have this semantic discussion, under the roof of a house, in front of a fire, or something like that, but not in these waters.
Maybe we just need to try one more cave, okay? The first cave, I will admit, was not the right choice, and that was my fault for trusting.
I wonder if it was the spinning and then the pointing willy-nilly.
I agree, Doc.
I was trying to get with the magic a little bit, and I realized that I shouldn't have done that.
Freddy, we can try another cave, but it will be our last if it's not the right one. The tide's coming up like this and the storm coming through. There won't be much breathing room, and we're going to meet those fish at the bottom of the ocean a lot faster than we think.
So someone can elect to make either a search or a navigate roll.
I have an 80 in search.
Oh my God.
It should be you.
It should be you. You should find things.
Oh, God. 56.
Dr. Rook, in your many studies of the coast, you've heard of these sea caves, and you read in a random science book once that you want to pay attention to the caves that have the strongest current. That's usually the indication that they travel far into the earth.
This is why we use science over whimsy. As I point in the direction of the cave with the current, I think we should try this one.
Well, we've given the doctor another feather in his cap. We need to move fast.
What feather? What feather? It's logic, my man. Same thing like you do, except with less cards and alcohol.
I agree. You and I do the same thing. Start rowing.
You row into the darkness. I'd like somebody to make an alertness roll for me as you enter.
Ooh. I like that one. A 58 under 80.
While you are rowing, Kennedy, you just happen to look off to the side and you notice a fast-moving underwater shadow that silently enters the tunnel ahead of you and disappears into the dark.
There's something with us out there in the waters. And he crouches up a little bit and leaves his hands free from the oars and points out to everyone.
It's enough that it'll warrant a sanity check for me, Kennedy.
Shit. Failure with a 96.
Okay, roll a d2. So roll a d4, and 1s and 3s are 1, and 2 and 4 are 2.
I rolled a 1, so...
Okay, you're only going to lose 1 sanity.
It's coming out this way, but it's not any shape I recognize, especially not moving in these caves like this. Not at the speed it's going. What is that?
Is it a shark?
No, I don't think so. I move quicker than they do. An odd pattern, a pattern I've never seen before.
At this point, it's already disappeared deeper into the cave ahead of you.
Perhaps we should go faster.
Just watch the waters. We can't move faster. We might recognize as prey, and then they'll hunt the ship.
Oh.
That's something they do.
They capsize all the time out here in Ipswich. The sailors say it's near unexplainable sometimes. Some of the best sailors in the world tossed over, left in the waters.
Why are you telling me this nightmare now?
Because we've been trapped in here by one side of the storm. And now we're in here with that. And we need to know what's going to happen if things go wrong.
It's hard to tell at this point, but you could tell from earlier caves that had a similar size and berth that, when the water is low, it's maybe an 8-foot ceiling. Now it's closer to 5 feet. So sometimes you're kind of hunched and you're low, avoiding the stalactites that pass overhead. And at this point, it stinks. It reeks of seawater. You rode deep enough that now the light of the outside, which is already dim from the rainstorm, is distant and far.
We had a car that we could drive into Innsmouth. We could have found another way, right? Like wringing out my handkerchief that I normally pat my head with.
I think Kennedy, fucking exhausted, lays himself fully down on the boat, taking up way more space than he should, and wiping his beanie up over his face and goes, "Go on, Freddy. Where are we going, Freddy?"
Thank you. The point is to see if there is any illegal activity. So I figured the secret caves
feels pretty fucking illegal, Freddy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy. I think that if we can just proceed, the chances of us seeing any form of evidence would increase exponentially.
Yes, in the darkness where a camera can't take a photo.
We can light something on fire, can't we?
The doc is making more sense by the second. I just would like to put it out there.
I feel like I've always made sense, but it's fine.
Even the screaming in the library? Are we going to act like that was sense? Okay, we made it into the secret caves. Maybe the doctor's right about it being dark and wet and permanently so.
You reach a place where there is less sea and more cavern. You could eventually make landfall with these boats, but you think you found an area that you could probably step off, and there's always an inch or two layer of water. It's quiet. You can hear the sound of wind deeper into the caves. It's pitch black. So what are you guys doing to see anything?
We had, lanterns that we were going to keep on us. I think they should all be intact, yeah.
You strike those lanterns on. There are many entrances that lead in different directions.
I would like to find a way out.
Yes, please.
I'm on Team Explore. I want to see what's going on in this place that I just spent 3 hours to get into.
I also want to explore.
Well, you can have your cake and eat it too with my skill challenge that I'm going to throw at you.
Oh
no! Skill challenge?
What a lovely shopping channel intro to that, Sergio. With the new Sergio skill challenge.
Do you want to be traumatized?
Available now on our Patreon. I need 3 successes before 3 failures. You can use any skill that you can justify for how you make your way through here, but you can't use the same skill twice.
I think I'm using the same way that I did to find the right sea cave. Try to find indications or something of maybe a well-traveled section of this cave, or something that looks more walkable, not so narrow in path. That's a success with a 60.
You lead the group looking for those clues that indicate that one is more used, that a certain cavern is more used than others, and you do find it. You find more well-worn caverns. There is a thin layer of water, so it's not easy to see footprints or anything, but you do start coming across places where there has been wood placed to support the ceiling of certain areas. This is a used place. The wood is worn down enough from the moisture that it's hard to tell how new it is, but it does seem like people have used these caverns.
So this is a man-made structure versus just organic cave, is what you're saying?
I wouldn't say man-made. I would say that portions of it have been supported by man-made improvements. You guys wander for a few minutes in this cave, and again, you're having to fight that stench of rotting seaweed and ocean. You know, you assume that there's probably dead fish in here somewhere because the rot of fish is very present, and all that you can hear is the echoing of the wind and now your footsteps sloshing through the water as you hold those lanterns in the darkness. Something interesting occurs, which is that as you go in, you start noticing that certain caverns have offshoots where there is clearly bioluminescent plant matter growing on the walls, and it is illuminating some of those spaces. And you eventually come through tight spaces where it is technically a hallway, but you're having to walk around some small spires of coral that are about, I would say, chest high. And on this coral is this bioluminescent light that helps light your way along with the lanterns. Towards the end of this hall, there is a small opening, and Freddy, when you look in it, you notice that there is 2 crates
Stuffed against the sea cave wall.
what looks to be like a small alcove space, big enough for about 6 people to stand in.
Ha! Criminal activity. I fucking told you it'd be in the caves. Take a fucking picture. Get in there, baby. Get in there.
This is the first time Cora smiled all day, or in hours. They've been mostly silent. They've been shaking with cold and fear and adrenaline and just like been making themselves like a ball. I think all the alcohol is just burned out of their system from sheer stress and cold. But they're going to bring their camera up, and I will, instead of using a cult, use photography.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to take I'm going to hold the crate and pose with the crate like a fish that I caught.
Yeah, and as you get close, Freddy, you can see that there are big padlocks and big metal braces on the corners and stuff. You can also see the wood is so worn out that you could probably just tear it apart. But on those metal engravings, you see a big family crest in the shape of an M.
Perfect.
Cora, you line up the shot, and you know that although there is some bioluminescence on the wall, you're going to, never mind the lanterns, you're going to have to use that flash to take this photo.
All right, Mr. Clark, if you could hold this, and I'll pass him the flash, and I'll remind Freddy, it's going to be bright, so, mind your eyes.
That's fine.
All right.
I'm going to say Freddy and Kennedy, you both are going to be blinded by the flash for about a round.
Oh, shit.
No, why would you say around if we're just calmly taking a photo?
Around is so specific.
Clark and Rook, you both look away from the flash. Clark, you're looking past Kennedy as he's just eyes wide staring at a flash in a dark space that he's been in for a little while. Dr. Rook, you look back, and all that is illuminated are a pair of eyes reflecting from the flash.
No!
The problem is the eyes immediately become large as they race towards you.
No.
Clark, you can see rushing past Dr. Rook and Kennedy is some kind of form with these reflective eyes. Kennedy, you suddenly feel on your shoulder, you get pushed to the side as something races into the room and the light disappears.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about initiative. All right, so Freddy, you are going first. Something has just happened. The people in the room with you are reacting to something that has suddenly happened. You can hear feet sloshing quickly in the water, and then the hair on the back of your neck stands up.
Okay, what was that? Can someone just point me in the right direction?
It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you.
I can't see anything. Then I just lift up the lantern to the void.
Okay, you do, and as you do, this disgusting fish-like man turns and reveals himself. He is about 5'5", but is completely devoid of any human features. He has these enormous webbed hands with sharp claws, these serrated teeth that look like needles, and his bulbous eyes are kind of glowing in the reflection of your candlelight. It's absolutely terrifying for you all to see, and I need you to make sanity checks, please.
Okay, that's okay.
That's a fail with a 61.
Oh, I succeed.
Yeah, you will lose 1 sanity if you succeed. If you failed, you're going to roll a d8.
No.
That's okay.
This is worse than the Innsmouth look. This is closer to what you saw in that painting, and it's just even more horrifying in person.
It's a 3.
It's a -4 for me.
What is everyone's immediate reaction to seeing this thing?
It's a fish man. It's a fish man.
I'm a holler. I'm a scream.
Yeah, Cora yells too.
Arthur's going to jump back and grab his briefcase that's always been in his hand as he's going in.
Yeah, Kennedy is just duffel bag, shotgun, please.
Next in the initiative would be Kennedy, if you'd like to react.
Yeah, seeing this thing, but still, fighting off the floater, blinding light in my eyes. I can barely even track whether it's actually real or something he's hallucinating from the shock. He grabs that trench shovel he used to clear the debris earlier, and he runs in and tries to hack this thing square in the face. To which I unfortunately fail with a 57 over what would have been a 50 is now a 30.
So Kennedy, you go racing towards it to attack it. You said you have a hatchet, but you swing wide, and it's surprising that this kind of lumbering thing is able to dash out of the way. Rook, you are able to do something if you like. You've also failed a couple of sanity rolls. I'm going to say unless you make another roll, your paranoia is going to kick in.
It's a fail with a 59.
In your mind, this is as bad as it can get, and you're wondering if these fools didn't bring you in here to kill you.
You've doomed us. I'm fucking gonna run. It's loud. Everybody's screaming, that which also amplifies the already anxiety that's in that, and then thinking that these fish people are gonna drag me somewhere away. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm gonna run.
You rush out, and as you make a left back the direction that you came, you can see two of them starting to wander down the hall, their shape ambling towards you. So you have only one choice, which is to go deeper into the cave.
Oh my god.
Yep, that's where I go. I'm not thinking about it.
This fish creature in the cove with you.
It's been breathing, this labored breathing similar to what Ropes was doing the evening before. Just kind of reaches out to Kennedy and begins slashing at you with these serrated claws. That's 6 damage to you as it just begins slicing at your back as you stumble past it.
Fuck.
It thinks that it's done its job with you and you won't bother it, and it turns to address the others, and it begins kind of lumbering towards you guys.
Yeah, I have a call. I'm going to do like a call shot because I'm going to use, if it's rushing towards, I'm going to point blank shoot it in the briefcase, the thick briefcase, in a diagonal position. He's going to flick it down. It is going to be a sawed-off shotgun. So he's gonna, as you drop it, grab it, and it's already loaded, and he's just gonna point blank straight ahead and just fire. I am very upset right now. For a 15 firearms, I got a 65.
Oh.
Yeah, it's dark and it's scary, and this thing is rushing at you, so you just aim and fire at it. It probably is close enough to be able to push the gun up, and it fires up into the air, illuminating the space once again, similar to that camera flash, but this time a bunch of rock debris starts falling on everybody.
Cora's fumbling with the flash and is trying to change the flash bulb out because bulbs in that time only were good for one use.
You can easily do that, and if on your turn you'd like to, you could use it.
Great. Then I want to do that. I want to take another picture of it with the flash. I think Clark probably dropped the flash, so I've kind of scooped it up, and I'm trying to taking a picture in the direction that I hear the scuffle. I have an 80. I got an 80.
Whoa.
The creature is blinded by the flash,
And it squeals in pain as these large eyes begin rolling around in its head. Clark, you can feel it kind of walk backwards, and you can suspect that for the moment, it is blinded and dazzled by that bright light.
I think in the like aftermath of it, Cora's just trying to call out directions to Freddy and Kennedy and Clark about where it is.
Okay, I'm going to just hone in to try to block out all of the panicking and screaming and hone into Cora's voice and take a shot in the direction of the flash. All right, let's go, baby. That's a fail.
Your eyes are watery and there are things floating around your vision, and unfortunately you shoot wide. You don't know this yet, but you have not made contact with the creature, just kind of shooting blindly into the dark. Rook, I would like you to make me some kind of roll, as the skill challenge is still in effect. Some kind of roll to see if you can find your way out. I need 2 more successes from you.
Let me do... I have a 30% to navigate, so I'll try to navigate my way through this next stretch.
Your hands trembling as you hold the lantern and you race deeper into the cave.
There's gotta be a way out. That's a fail with an 88. Oh!
We'll get back to you, Dr. Rook. Kennedy?
Okay. So then he's gonna reach into that sort of chest holster for his M1 1911, pull it, and then just fire most of the magazine in the direction of this fucking thing, hoping to God that if he sprays into it and hits meat, that it's him and not, any of his friends here in the caves.
I'm going to say that failure at this point could be disastrous for allies, as it's a pretty tight space here and everybody's popping off shots.
So with the 20% lower, we're at a 50% shot. And I have a 34 under 50, which would be a success. 8 points of damage.
Finally, in all this mayhem, Kennedy, you're able to make a shot and you fire at this thing. It had already stumbled back, dazzled by the flash of the camera, and you hear it cry out and you hear the gut punch as this bullet lands in its belly. With that said, it is still moving and reacting and making noise, and you don't suspect that it's dead, but it has certainly taken a shot and doesn't seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, he's going to call out to the others and say, we need to go, and start taking off in the direction of the doctor, and hope to God he's not going to run into another one of these things. I'm going to call that out, but try and find her in the darkness. I'm going to use the rest of my movement to try and find the photographer.
It is the creature's turn. I would assume you all have your lanterns aimed at it, and it's kind of reacting, but it stops, and it just seems suddenly drawn to Cora, and it's going to rush you, and it is going to attempt to grapple you.
I'm gonna dodge because I don't have anything useful I can do on my turn anyway. I rolled a 2.
Get out.
So it just starts clamoring towards you, and you now have your hands up in the air blocking yourself as its hands are kind of over you. And so there's this disgusting moment where it's kind of just slobbering over you. It's horrible fish breath breathing down on you, and it's trying to wrestle you, but it seems like the shot in the stomach has weakened it, and it's just not able to get a good grasp on you, but it's trying to force you out of the cave.
I actually have something for this. In my hat, like Sergio, I wrote that in my sheet. Like, what is it called? The Ravello? The thing that you could choke someone?
Like the piano wire?
The garrote? Yeah.
Yeah, that thing to go on. Yeah, so I'm going to take that out of the lining, and I'm just going to dash.
Who are you?
The accountant.
Who else is going after the mob? This is the 20s, damn it! And I got a 5.
That's why you don't fuck with the IRS.
Arthur's gonna... the thing that was kind of very fun about him is suddenly gonna get very, very still and lined up. And he's actually going to... His jacket's dropped by this point. He takes his hat, and it's like he's a little bit more thinking and very sure of his moves, and he wraps it tightly around his fists. He's going to run and also do a little jump because he is 5 5'4", and he's going to wrap it around and also do almost like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of grapple to make it even tighter. And he's going to choke the life out of this thing to at least give Cora an opportunity to get out or make it, kill it.
Okay, roll a d6.
Okay, a 3.
First of all, this creature's head is large and bulbous, and you have to open the garrote as much as possible to get it around this guy. And it's like that scene where Leia is choking Jabba the Hutt. You're having to pull back. And what shocks you is that all the strength that you put into choking this thing, it doesn't even seem like the garrote is piercing the thick hide of this thing. Mechanically, it has not taken any damage.
Well,
but now you are holding on to it on one side while it's trying to get on top of Cora.
Is it making it a little difficult for it?
I'll say that, yeah, if it attempts to grab her again, it'll have some difficulty, yes.
I think Cora's gonna try to scramble up to her feet and move as far away as she can with keeping everyone in eye line.
So you and Kennedy are now in the hall, and you know that somewhere down there is Dr. Rook as well. Now that we're at the end of the initiative, let's go to Dr. Rook. Rook, you are breathing heavy, looking down every passageway, and they just all look the same, and you feel like you finally found one, and you start running down it. And when you make a turn, you enter another space, this one a little bit larger than the previous where that bounty was. But when you make the turn, you see movement, and there are maybe 4 people laying on the floor, kind of up against the wall. As you walk closer, you realize the people look melted. They look like they're going through some kind of metamorphosis. All of the humanity that was there is gone, and all that's left is this kind of blob. Some of them, their feet have been fused together, but the light catches their attention, and all of them begin reaching out, crying out in these disjointed, gravelly voices, unable to say anything, their eyes bulbous like the others in Innsmouth, looking at you, reaching for you. I need a sanity check.
I succeed barely with a 34 out of 37.
Okay, you're not going to lose any sanity, and explain to me how you don't lose any sanity in this moment.
I think it's an instinctual, I grabbed my mouth before I screamed. And I've just, I've tried to, stop making motion in hopes that it's going to stop them from moaning at me.
It doesn't, and you know that, and that's why you turn away and you just keep running. Freddy.
I'm gonna get as close as I can and try to shoot. I want to get profile, so I won't shoot through it and hit Clark or something, and go for this thing one more time with a pistol. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. 26. 7.
Okay, you fire into this thing, this time hitting its arm that is already up in the air. You kind of shoots through the bottom of its arm and out the back. And again, it stumbles back, releasing its engagement with Cora as she runs out. It is still up, and it still seems quite angry, and will probably turn on you any moment now as it kind of draws its eyes and gaze at you.
Okay, then I just say, all right, I'll meet you in the hallway.
Kennedy.
I'm going to wait until Cora moves, and I'm just following Cora. And if that's the case, then I'm just playing linebacker for Cora's cube. Well, that's not how football works, but yeah. I'll hold an action until they get close to Cora or Clark, and then I'll pop off a shot.
Rook.
Yeah, I'd like to go home. Oh, wow. Cool. That's great. That's a success with an 11.
That's a critical success. So you do manage to navigate your way back. You can see the lights of the others, and you're able to rejoin them as they are shuffling down the hall.
Could I use that return to kind of maybe guide people to come my way, since I've already pre-scouted the next leg of this? So I'll just wave my lantern.
Yeah, you make sure to let them know not to go down a passage you've already been. So then actually the creature will go. It's still dizzied by the flash of light, but it is going to try to attack you. No, it fails. So, Arthur, you've got a good control of this thing. It looks like it's taken enough hits from these bullets that it's really not able to overpower you. But it does look like you're barely doing anything in terms of choking it or dealing it any kind of damage at the moment.
I'm going to sense that and realize that, because I also saw the whole point was to get an opportunity for Cora to get out. I'm going to, stick my thumb in that sucker's eye and, squiggle.
Yeah, make an unarmed combat attack against it.
Vete pa carajo. 60-60.
60-60. You guys are really riding the line this time. Go ahead and roll a d4.
Oh, baby.
You shove your thumb into this big eye. I mean, you can't miss it. What you're surprised by is how hard the eye is. Similar to the rest of its body, it's very difficult, but you do manage to add a crack to it, and you deal it a point of damage.
Is it enough for me to for me to disengage?
Okay, so you start backing away. I'll say that you get to the entrance, and that's when you can see running down the hall are two more of these things. Cora.
I think Cora doesn't deal in flesh and blood terror. Cora's terror is usually more metaphysical in the sense of spirits and things that aren't there. And that's where they feel most comfortable. So I think they're literally going to just try and read the vibes of the room and just connect with spirits that are there and just open herself to that in whatever way they have.
Absolutely. Let's get a vibes check. Make that a cult roll.
39. Under 50.
As you travel deeper into these caves, you start noticing that the algae, the bioluminescent forms that are growing on the walls, are forming patterns of some kind. They almost look like runes. The success in the occult just makes you feel like this means something to the people here, and it means something, and you should follow it, and you continue to follow it. And you feel like you are closer to the exit. You now have 2 successes. You just need one more to find a way out of here. Freddy.
I'm going to try to slip away from the attention of these 2 baddies and use stealth. Freddy's been into combat, and this stealth mode, which is kind of just hitting the deck a little bit, gives them a little bit of time to run forward, hit the ground, and look around in time that they haven't had since this started. Excellent. It's a 21.
Dr. Rook leads the direction of where not to go. Cora insists that following these runes is a good idea. And Freddy, staying out of the creature's eye line, gives you kind of the peace of mind to take in your surroundings. And the group is able to find what appears to be a makeshift dock. It's just a large wooden platform that has a staircase that leads up to what appears to be some kind of stone wooden structure above.
I think that last stealth mode, Freddy probably pulled the lead, runs up to the stairs, and I think the moment that starts the synapses firing about where the fuck this place might be is the lantern that's already low to the ground illuminating the material of the stairs, and they sort of crouch down as they go up and clear the shot for everyone else behind them and whoever wants to take it.
I'll be following right behind Freddy.
I'm in the back with Cora.
These things make the corner and they reach you. One of them is going to make a leap for Cora.
I have been holding a shot. Can I take that as it dives?
Yeah, absolutely. So you see these things make the corner, and one of them just preemptively leaps. And as it leaps, it's like a frog. It is able to clear the air and the water. It leaps several feet into the air before it lands onto the wooden platform, but not before you take your shot, Kennedy. Go ahead.
Okay. I have an 18 under 70 from my firearms, so I succeed. And they'll take 9 points of damage. He hears the bead. He's ready for them. He knows they were coming around that corner. The second it lands, he searches for the light in its eyes and takes shot.
This thing takes the shot and then falls flat on its back. This disgusting slop sound as it lands on the ground. It is still very much alive, but it is stunned by the shot and is now recomposing itself, kind of getting itself back together, slowly standing. But you manage to keep it from attacking. The other one, I think, is just going to spend its time ducking under the water and hiding so that you cannot see it. Clark, do you go up?
I'm getting Cora up.
Okay, so Cora's the priority. So Cora, you immediately are hoisted up by Kennedy and Clark. Freddy, you clamber up. You're able to push it up, and you can see that some kind of really large carpet was over it, and you're able to lift it up enough that the carpet folds and flaps, and there's this huge bout of dust that kind of comes from this action. But you can see that there is some kind of abandoned warehouse space that you are entering into. It's dark, but there is a little bit of the soft light coming in through the boarded up windows. The rest of you stumble out of this hole.
I'm gonna slam the lid closed.
Freddy's grabbing like whatever chair, table, heavy thing in the room.
We gotta move the tables. And Kennedy's like hobbling over to try and help.
As the final large piece of furniture comes to a stop over the door, there's a bang, boom, and then it doesn't shake or move again, and then there's silence.
I don't know about the rest of you, but something fishy's going on around here.
Oh my god.
Mr. Clark.
Just not the time. Not the time.
So it becomes clear as you all sit here, you have evidence of something. The trouble is you have to get out of Innsmouth.